Look closely at almost any engineering decision, and you'll find the same shape hiding underneath. Each one is really a search for the best choice among a whole ocean of possibilities. That search has a name. It's called optimization, and once you see it, you'll spot it everywhere. Strip optimization down to one sentence, and here it is: which choice makes things as good as possible without breaking a single rule? Answering that always means naming 3 things. Just 3. First, the decision variables, the knobs you are actually free to turn. Dimensions, quantities, gains. Call them X. Second, the objective, one single number that scores how good a choice is. A cost to push down or a profit to push up. That's f of X. Third, the constraints, the lines you are not allowed to cross. Budgets, limits, demand. Written as inequalities and equalities. Nail down all 3, and a fuzzy wish like "make it cheap but strong" becomes a problem a machine can actually solve. To let one toolbox attack every problem, we agree on a single standard shape. By convention, we always minimize. Minimize f of X, the objective. Subject to the inequality constraints, pushed into less than or equal to 0 form. And the equality constraints, written as equals 0. The set of all points that satisfy every constraint is the feasible region, F. The entire search happens inside it, step outside, and no matter how good the number looks, it doesn't count. Picture it. The feasible region is this shaded patch, fenced in by the constraints. Now slide the objective across it. These dashed lines are equal value contours, and the green arrow points toward better. Push as far as the region allows, and you slam into a corner. For a linear objective, the best feasible point sits right at a vertex. That corner is X star, the optimum. And what about maximizing? No new theory needed. Flipping the sign of the objective doesn't move the best point, so maximizing f is just minimizing minus f. Here's the single hardest idea in the whole subject. Take this cost landscape and imagine dropping a ball on it. Let it roll downhill, the way almost every algorithm does, and it settles here, in the first dip it finds. This is a local minimum. It's the lowest point in its own little neighborhood, and the ball has no idea anything better exists. But look further to the right. There's a deeper valley the ball never reached. That's the global minimum, the best point anywhere in the region. Finding a valley is easy. Proving it's the deepest one is hard. Except in one blessed case, a convex problem, where every local minimum is automatically the global one. Let's make it concrete. A farmer has 100 meters of fence and a straight wall. Fence just 3 sides. What dimensions enclose the most land? Name the pieces. The 2 sides sticking out from the wall are each X, the far side is Y. The fence you spend is 2x plus Y, and it equals 100. The area you gain is X times Y. Substitute Y, and the area becomes one clean function of X, set its derivative to 0, and X lands exactly on 25. Plot the area and the story is obvious, it climbs, peaks, and falls. The very top is a squarish pen, 25 by 50, holding 1250 square meters. One more example, because it hides a surprise. Take f of x equals x to the 4th minus 8x squared. Set the derivative to 0 and 3 suspects appear, x equals 0 and plus or minus 2. At 0, the curve is at a crest, a local maximum. The second derivative is negative there. But at plus and minus 2, the curve bottoms out, both at minus 16. And here's the surprise, they tie. This function has two global minima at once. So much for a single best answer. The optimum doesn't have to be one lonely point, a good thing to remember. Here's optimization earning its keep. A workshop makes tables and chairs. Tables bring 60 rupees of profit, chairs 30. But carpentry hours and wood are both limited. Turn the words into a model. Let x1 be tables, x2 chairs. Maximize total profit. Carpentry caps you at 40 hours, wood at 32 units, and you can't build a negative chair. Draw the two limits as lines, and everything you are allowed to build lives inside this shaded region. And just like before, the best profit sits at a corner, 8 tables and 4 chairs, using up every hour and every plank. 600 rupees. That corner picture is exactly what the simplex method chases down. Before you pick a method, you have to know what kind of problem you are holding. We sort them along a handful of independent axes. Constrained or not. Linear or nonlinear. Continuous or forced onto whole numbers. One objective or several that fight each other. Data known exactly or clouded by chance. Solved once or unfolding over stages. Take committing 3 generators, whole number units, cost that grows with the square of output, demand that must be met exactly. That's a constrained, integer, nonlinear program, genuinely hard. So which tools do all this? The classical methods use pure calculus, set the gradient to 0, add Lagrange multipliers. Unbeatable when the problem is small and smooth. The mathematical programming methods, simplex, branch and bound, gradient solvers, scale to large, structured problems and often guarantee the true optimum. And the meta-heuristics, inspired by evolution and swarms, trade guarantees for reach, hunting good solutions in rugged, noisy terrain where gradients simply fail. Zoom all the way out, and one habit survives. Faced with any problem, ask 3 questions in order. What can I change? What am I making best? And what must I not violate? Answer those, and the answer X star follows. 9 times out of 10, a hard optimization problem is really a modeling problem wearing a disguise. Next, we get our hands dirty, turning messy real-world situations into clean models, step by step. That's where the real skill begins. See you there.